What's up, guys? We're back. We're running a little short on time, so this is going to be a more compressed segment, but we're going to go through our Western Conference playoff matchups. We're not going to go too in-depth with any analysis. We're just going to give you kind of a quick pick-em to go with our Eastern Conference matchups. We got a lot more of the show coming. We recorded it first, and we went way over, so we're kind of compressing this, but we'll make up for it next time. We'll make sure to hit this harder, but we're going to give you our picks for our Western Conference playoff matchups and a quick reason why, and then we're going to move on to the next segment. So you want to start off, or you want me to go first?
For the first matchup, I'll go ahead.
All right.
The matchup between Houston and Minnesota. It's going to be a tough matchup. Like, yes, Houston might have won over 60 games, and in fact 65, but Minnesota is not going to be an easy team to go over. Like, with Jimmy Butler, Karl Anthony Towns, and Andrew Wiggins, they're going to be a trio to be dealt with, and you're going to have to deal with them, from the very first game all the way down. Like, I believe this will go at least 6 games, but at the end of the day, I say Houston.
I think you're absolutely right. Minnesota is a scary team for the future, next few years. Jimmy Butler's healthy all year. They got a much higher seed. And they're not facing Houston in the first round. Probably have home court advantage potentially. But, yeah, I mean, Houston's too good to lose in the first round this year. Hands down. Houston, I like 6. It wouldn't shock me if it went 7. I don't think it will. I don't think it will.
I would kind of like the fact that they're going 7 games.
I would love a 7
series.
But I think 6, Minnesota will give them a run for their money, make them work for it, but Houston's going to win that series.
Right. And then we have our next matchup, Golden State and San Antonio, the 2 and the 7. And this will be very, very intriguing because this whole first round will be without the health of Stephen Curry. And this is going to be on Kevin Durant, folks. He's going to have to lead this team. Without Curry, KD is going to have to be the face of the team. Like, with Draymond Green and Klay Thompson and Livingston and David West, you have a whole bunch of different veterans on that team that's been there and done that through several playoff runs and their last few runs of being in the NBA Finals for 3 straight years and potentially a 4th year. But at the end of the day, Golden State should be able to get by San Antonio because without Kawhi Leonard, they're not the same team. Like, with LaMarcus Aldridge, as great of a player he is, he's going to be the main focus. And with all the other young players that San Antonio have, and Tony Parker and Manu Ginobili, they're not the same players from 10 years ago. Now, if they were like, how they were 10 years ago, maybe we'll have a different argument. But it's not the case. So, in 6 games, I'll take the Golden State Warriors.
If they have Kawhi Leonard healthy, ready to go, versus Golden State without Steph, we're talking a totally different story because Golden State's not getting past Kawhi Leonard, and they might not have last year. They were down 20 the last time we saw Kawhi for real. He played like 7 games this year. Last time we really saw Kawhi, they were up 20 on the Warriors in Game 1 on the road. Kawhi gets hurt, they lose that game.
It's our opportunity here, folks.
Without Kawhi, I honestly don't know. Like, Golden State without Curry, I was very worried about them. Now that they're playing San Antonio, I'm not as concerned. That's not a knock against LaMarcus Aldridge, Greg Popovich, because they're great. But, man, it's still Golden State. It's still Kevin Durant. It's still Klay Thompson. It's still Steve Kerr versus Greg Popovich, Greg Popovich is the all-time great coach, but Steve Kerr, he's a Popovich.
Cycle.
He's probably the best. He's not really up for Coach of the Year because, Golden State's been down or whatever, but he's still a top 5 coach in the NBA, and it's not close. He's top 3 easily. Top 5
on a consistent basis.
Yeah, top 5 is, giving other people a little, more credit for like this singular season or whatever. But No, I think Golden State takes that series in 5 still.
Yeah, so you say 5, I say 6 out of respect for San Antonio.
I say that San Antonio is good enough to win 1. I don't know if they're good enough to win 2. But, I mean, you're looking at Golden State lost 1 playoff game last year, and it was game 4 of the finals because LeBron's going to win on his home floor. LeBron's not getting swept on his home floor. So they lost 1 game. But
all right, and now our next matchup, the 3-6. Portland and New Orleans. Now
I'm excited about this.
Yeah,
series,
with
man.
C.J. McCollum and Damian Lillard and Nurkic and Harkness and Aminu. That young squad going against New Orleans and the leader, the front man, Anthony Davis. With that, it's going to be compelling. But I still say without DeMarcus Cousins, you're going to see how New Orleans going to, be, at this point. Because for a whole 7-game series, you're going to be able to focus in on Anthony Davis. Yes, you have Mirotic stepping up for him. Yes, you still have Drew Holiday and other complementary parts. But they're not going to be able to match the intensity that Damian Lillard is going to bring. Like Chase mentioned constantly, it's Dame time, folks. I mean, it's Dame time. And with, him and McCollum, they each going to, put them together. They're going to average at least 50, 55 points a game for a series. And it's only so much Anthony Davis is going to do. And will we actually see Mirotic score 20 to 25 like he has been as of late on their latest run?
Maybe.
I'm skeptical. So I'll say Portland win in 6.
I like that. We got playoff Rondo coming. Playoff Rondo is
That's true.
That's a scary animal. You got Drew Holiday. My friend Corey likes to call him J-Rue Holiday, so that's what I always think of when I see Drew Holiday, J-Rue. But no, I think for Portland, you got Damian Lillard versus Anthony Davis, and they're both MVP caliber players. They're both great. You got playoff Rondo is coming. You got Drew Holiday. But to me, Damian Lillard, C.J. McCollum, that's as much as Anthony Davis is going to be a problem for Portland. That backcourt duo is going to give New Orleans nightmares, man. And I don't think that New Orleans has enough power especially with that. If we're talking DeMarcus Cousins,
it will be totally different if DeMarcus Cousins is there, but
totally different conversation.
It's gonna be hard.
Yeah, and that's why I'm with you. I like Portland in 6. I'm not trying to piggyback all your picks there, but I like Portland in 6.
It's hard to not agree with me. I mean,
all right, let's not take it too far. Here, I'll go first on the last one. So you have to copy.
Yeah, so I can pick
so you have to copy me. You got Oklahoma City and Utah, which is actually a very interesting matchup. It's kind of tough though because it's really a battle of 3 guys that know how to. Well, I guess Carmelo doesn't have a whole lot of playoff experience, really, if we're being honest. But
not in recent years, but in totality, his experience still matters.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you've got 3. You've got 3 veteran all-stars versus a young up-and-coming team that's still kind of getting their feet wet. You've got Donovan Mitchell's the best player on Utah, and he's a rookie.
Clearly.
And I mean, if you're saying best player versus best player, Russ versus Donovan Mitchell, it's not close. No offense to the young blood,
but it's levels to this. You have to work your way up, and Westbrook is clearly up here.
Mitchell could be there one day. I'm not saying he's not going to be, but today's not that day.
Not right now.
I mean, you go second best player, Gobert versus Paul George, and I know that's a totally different position, different.
But as in impact, like for that position, Paul George has a bigger impact at the forward/guard position than Gobert at center.
Oh yeah, and then you say, I mean, we could go Rubio. Or who'd you say? Joe Ingles or whatever.
Joe Ingles.
Ingles.
Jumping Joe Ingles.
Whatever.
3.
It's late. No, I mean, I'm taking that trio, even if their chemistry is off and they're not, they're no good. They're not. I don't care. You got 3 all-stars versus a very young team. Man, I love Utah and I want to pick them, but I honestly have to go OKC and I'm gonna say 5. I don't see Utah getting a lot of. I mean, it's the playoffs. It's a different season. Regular season, Utah could beat OKC 3, 4 out of 5 times.
Right.
But best of 7, Russell Westbrook in the playoffs, Paul George in the playoffs, Carmelo Anthony in the playoffs, Steven Adams in the playoffs. Man, I got to go with them, and I'm saying 5 games.
Yeah, and I'm piggybacking off this man in this case because he so happened to go first, y'all. That's the only reason why, it seems like now I'm just following his coattails. But in this case, I'm going to have to go with Oklahoma City in 5 because it's the inexperience of Utah. This is the first time they've been in the playoffs in a while. And with Donovan Mitchell, I mean, he's gonna carry this team. He's gonna get them 1. And they're gonna win in Utah.
He's good
for
enough
that one game.
He's good enough to win.
In Oklahoma City with that crowd, it's gonna be vicious, and I believe it's gonna be Paul George and Carmelo's time, and they're gonna step up in the first round and put that together to be able to put Oklahoma City over the top against the Utah Jazz. Wait till next year, the Jazz.
Oh, they're coming.
They're gonna be coming.
They're coming.
But for this year, it's just a year too early, and I believe that they'll go down in 5 to Oklahoma City.
All right, so let's do a quick. Let's see. So we agreed on everything. So now we got
be the 1
Houston,
and 4.
Houston and OKC, and Golden State, Portland.
Houston and Oklahoma City first.
I'm gonna say
that's gonna be a dicey matchup.
That's a 7-game series, I think.
Already.
And Houston's got the home game. I don't have to go into all the matchups. You guys know what's at stake in this matchup. I'm giving Houston the advantage on their home floor, and CP3 is making his first ever Western Conference Finals at OKC's expense. As much as I hate to say that, I'd love to see OKC upset Houston. I'm saying Houston in 7.
And I have to agree with you because at the end of the day, if you really think about it, it's going to be James Harden versus Westbrook.
Westbrook lit him up the other night too, man. Called him out. But
I wouldn't say he necessarily called him out, but he just made it clear, he wasn't going to take no sides when it comes to the MVP debate.
Oh, yeah.
But if you really think about it, Houston, they're on a war path to get to the Western Conference Finals. They want to face Golden State. They want to beat Golden State, and therefore, with that, I believe that Houston in a tough series against Oklahoma City. It will not be easy, but it's going to be Chris Paul and James Harden going to lead that Houston Rockets team to the Western Conference Finals. And like you said, it'll be the first time for Chris Paul to get to the conference finals.
I think that could be.
That might be the best series.
It could be better than. It'll probably be better than the finals, potentially.
Yeah. That matchup by itself.
Because the finals might not be all that interesting, but that.
Well, it depends.
It depends on who gets there,
right?
And but that's for later.
So now.
Speaking of
the Golden State Warriors and the Portland Trail Blazers.
You said Houston wants to face Golden State in the Western Conference Finals, but guess what? They get to. Because Steph should be back by the second round.
He should be back. That's the expectation.
Let's say he's 65%. If he's 65% with Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson and Draymond Green, they've just got too many weapons to compete with Portland. Or for Portland to compete with it.
Well, how many games do you think it will go?
I'll let you go first so I don't copy off you.
Well, okay. I think in order for Golden State to beat Portland, the margin of error has narrowed. So I think that for Curry, he's going to have to be at least 75% healthy. 75 to 80%.
I'll give you that.
In order for them to get over the Trailblazers. Because the Trailblazers are young. They're hungry. They have surpassed expectations of what everybody believed they could be because, really, outside of McCollum and Lillard, what other big names you could say they have on their team? Like, off the top of your head.
Nothing comes to mind.
Nurkic.
It's those two,
the next best player on the team.
That's nothing against those other guys, but it's those two. Golden State, you're 5.
They have a whole bunch of supplementary parts surrounding Lillard and McCollum. But with that being said, Portland is bringing it. They brought it to Golden State every time they face each other over the last couple of years. Look at their last matchup in the playoffs. It took Curry going off and stepping in when Sean Livingston got thrown out of a game and
Forgot about that.
He went off for like 40.
Yeah.
It took a miraculous performance in order for that whole series to turn. So I expect a similar situation, but I think Curry obviously will start. And it's going to be a 7-game series. It won't be easy. That Portland crowd, they're hungry for a championship. They haven't had a title in the NBA since the 70s with
they went in the 90s and lost.
Yeah, they
Jordan
went to the 90s with Clyde Drexler and Jerome Kersey. God bless his soul. But they haven't won a title since the late 70s. So they're going to be hungry for that title. But it's not their time. Like it's Golden State. They've been on a warpath for the last several years. And we're going to be seeing this matchup in the Western Conference Finals between the Golden State Warriors and Houston Rockets. We've been wanting this matchup for the longest time. And now we're about to get it.
Because Golden State. I'm gonna say they win it. I'm gonna say they win in 6. I could see it going 7. I could definitely see it push to 7.
Oh, who are you taking?
Oh, Golden State. Oh, I'm not talking about the Houston Golden State. I was talking about Houston or Golden State Portland for that one. It's going 6.
Oh, so you say for Golden State Portland?
I'm saying Golden State wins in 6.
I say 7. Lillard is gonna go off.
I could see it going 7.
Lillard is gonna.
I could definitely
hell.
I agree with you. For
Golden State. I'm giving him that much credit.
Oh, I understand. I mean, I love Damian Lillard. He's a underrated. Even today, where he's hyped up, he's still underrated.
Mm-hmm.
But now I think it's going 6. But we're still getting the matchup.
We're getting
Golden State and Houston, and it's going 7. Write it down, memorize it.
It's gonna be for the record book, folks.
It's gonna be
one
phenomenal,
of a kind.
especially.
It's gonna be memorable.
I don't want any team to come into the playoffs less than full strength, so I'm betting on. I'm saying full strength Golden State versus full strength Houston. It's a 7-game series.
Even though, of course, we have a late development with Luke Mbabute. He separated his shoulder, and he dislocated his shoulder, so he's going to be out for some time, which will then now include the former Hog and Joe Johnson getting more playing time.
Johnson can still ball, baby.
It's going to be interesting to see him, now getting additional minutes. And he has had a history of being clutch, but in the playoffs,
last year in the playoffs, he tore it up. He
did, but
they lost
in general, it's still. You don't know what kind of Joe Johnson you're going to get. But he won't have to do as much now compared to his previous years, back in the days in Phoenix or in his, later on in his career in Atlanta. He won't have to do as much. He just got to just do his role. So with Joe Johnson and Gerald Green and Eric Gordon and Trevor Ariza and Ryan Anderson and Clint Capella, I mean, they have and PJ Tucker, I can't exclude him. All the different role players that Houston has is going to, they're going to help James Harden and Chris Paul immensely. And it's going to be hard to just target those two players because of how, Houston is a 3-point shooting team. They will shoot the lights out. And with Golden State, it's going to come down to their defense. Like Steve Kerr, their coach, has been on them all season long about effort and playing hard on defense. And it's always been their playing card has been defense. Like they always have had the offense, but it will come down to their defense if they're gonna win. And I believe that when the light shine on them at the hottest moment imaginable in the spotlight on the world stage, that Golden State will show up with defense in Game 7 in the Toyota Center in Houston, Texas. I believe that Golden State will figure out a way to beat the Houston Rockets and will go on to the NBA Finals for a 4th straight time. And will get to go up against the Toronto Raptors.
I agree with everything you said but the last part. Because they're taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers. They're winning it in 7. Still, assuming Steph's health. If Steph isn't healthy for this series, I don't even think it goes 7. I think Houston could win it on Golden State's floor in 6 with no Steph Curry. I think Houston might run away with the series potentially. But if we're talking,
hold on, I just realized something. With the West, aren't we gonna do the West first before the East?
No, we're doing the East first.
Oh, so okay, so this will be included.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's gonna be East, and then we're gonna bring up the West.
Yeah.
Okay, so the East is already be introduced.
Yeah. East.
Okay.
First.
All right, so we're gonna delete this little part.
Yeah. No, I'm good at editing.
Okay, good.
Don't worry. Yeah, I think if there's no Steph, Houston might run away with the series.
Mm-hmm.
But if there's an unhealthy, Steph that's not quite in a rhythm, I think, Houston is still going to be the favorites. But if we're talking healthy Steph.
Yeah, a healthy Steph Curry, folks.
Healthy Steph, ready to go. It's still going to go 7, and Golden State, like you said, is going to win on the road because of great defense. Go on and face the Cleveland Cavaliers and get swept. No, I'm just kidding.
Now for the predictions for the championship.
No breakdowns because it's all hypothetical.
Yeah, but just straight up, who you think are going to win and how many games?
Warriors versus Cavaliers, Cavs in 6. I'm dead serious. LeBron James is not going to lose to the same team 3 out of 4 years. He's going to make it 2-2. He'll average 70 and 80 if he has to. He's not doing it. He's not losing 3 out of 4 to Golden State.
Well, in my NBA Finals matchup, I'm not sure if this is going to be the first, but if it is, if it's not the first, it'll be the first time in a long, long time. We're going to have our first intercontinental NBA Finals between the Toronto Raptors and the Golden State Warriors.
I dig it.
And with that matchup, I believe it's going to go 6 games because Golden State and Toronto, over the last couple of years, they had some interesting games, some close finishes. Golden State it's always been iffy with them when it comes to Toronto, but as a team. But Steph Curry shows up in Toronto. His dad's former stomping grounds as he ended his career in Toronto. So Steph is familiar with the city. With that being said, Golden State. Caught you off guard with it.
Almost.
Golden State will win the championship in 6 games.
I dig it. I think Golden State with a healthy Steph is the favorite still. They should be. So we're going to cut to commercial, and then we're going to be back with our all-NBA teams, our award winners, etc. It's going to be a lot of fun, so don't miss out. We'll be right back. This episode of Under Review is also brought to you in part by the Swiffer Sweeper. Ever intentionally pour Diet Coke into your floor and need to clean it before your family gets home? Then the Swiffer Sweeper is perfect for you. Swiffer Sweeper is not responsible for any messes made nor the making of this video.